Hello everyone, this is my online activity assignment for MIT 806, assignment number 2. And in this assignment, I'm going to have my students create an interactive journal for our algebra unit. This will be able to help students with the vocab. Through our algebra unit, there's a lot of vocabulary that goes along with all the equations and expressions and everything involved in the unit. So my goal for this is to introduce the um, definitions before our unit so students can have a little bit of prior knowledge before we go back through and individually break it down. So, what I would have my students do, let me get into here. And so, the objectives for this, I want my students to create an interactive algebra journal using Google Slides that they'll be able to reference throughout our algebra unit, and then I want my students to gain an understanding of important vocabulary before we start the unit. One of the quotes from the readings was that I really liked was when learners drive the learning, they are fully engaged in the thinking, doing, and reflecting that occurs. And I think that with this assignment, of each learner will be in charge of how much they get out of this project because they can make it very in depth, something that they can reference back to a lot, or they can just do the basic and still get a lot out of it. But the standard that this goes along with is being able to identify parts of an expression using mathematical terms. So some of those terms that we'll be talking about is sum, term, product, factor, quotient, coefficient. And there's a lot more that will go into this as well. The ISTE standard is designing authentic learning activities that align with content area standards and using digital tools and resources to maximize active, deep learning. So, for the directions of this, what I want students to be able to do is they're going to take this template that I've made. So, I have this template that's already created, and they're going to make a copy of it, and then they're going to, and I put some screenshots in here so they have an idea of what they'll be doing, because since this is an online assignment, I want to give them all of the opportunities, so in case they're doing this at home or if I'm not in the classroom, they know what they should be doing. So they're going to rename their slide, and then they're going to create their own, so, and then they can share it with me so I can go in and give them points for completing this. But this is all for them. This is um, this is something that they'll be able to reference throughout the algebra unit, and probably something that I would let them use on our summative assessment. So they're going to have 14 algebraic vocabulary words to find the definition of. These vocab words will be used throughout the unit, and so what they're going to do is they're going to get a slide. So here's my example slide. I give them the vocab word that I want them to look up, and then there's two steps. They need to define the vocab word, then they need to get a picture. So they're gonna have to go on to dictionary.com or Google and click into a link. So they're gonna have to do some searching to figure out all the definitions of this. So whenever they get the definition, they need to put the definition on here, and they need to cite their source. So I've done I've done a little bit of this in previous years, or last year, not years, but last year I talked to the English teacher kind of about how she is asking them to cite right now, and at that point they were just doing the website in parentheses. So that's I'm trying to incorporate a little bit of being able to correctly cite their sources, and then for the picture, let me go back to the directions. Um, I want them to also find a picture that goes along with the vocabulary term, but this I do not want this to just be a picture of the definition. So, like if you Google algebraic expression, you're going to have a picture of algebraic expression, and then it's going to have a picture of the definition. But what I want is a picture of what an algebraic expression is. So the definition of this is a symbol or a combination of symbols used in algebra containing one or more numbers, variables, and arithmetic operations. So this 5x minus 3 would be considered the algebraic expression. So this is what I'm looking for, is a picture of an algebraic expression so they have an example of what they need to be doing. So, and like I said, the goal of this is to create a journal, a vocabulary journal that they can go back and reference throughout the unit. Um, so if you can see some of the terms that they'll have to do, all the stuff that goes along with our algebra unit, so they'll have a little bit of prior knowledge once we get to. So we're not going to cover all of this obviously at one time, but once we get to order of operations, they'll have a little bit of prior knowledge, and they can go back if they're doing something, if they're doing an assignment at home, and they can go back to their order of operations sheet right here. They'll have their definition and their image. So this is something that would take probably a class period to do all of these, and then at the end, I'd ask him to create a source page. So put all their sources in one page, and then if you notice on this one, I have the link of where I got the picture at. So I want them to cite their pictures as well, but I'm not really concerned about proper format. I just kind of want the link so they know that they're giving credit where they found the picture of. So I think that's it. But I think this would be a something that they could do online, something that would be helpful for them before we start our algebra unit, and something that would help them continuously throughout the unit. If there's any questions or comments about this, please let me know. Thank you.